There are characters who disturb us not because they kill or scream or haunt, but because they expose something deeply familiar. Not monsters from folklore, but monsters made from social contracts, bad love, and cultural contradictions. Amy Dunn is terrifying because she reflects our world back to us, only sharper, cleaner, more cruel. She's not a fantasy. She's a product, one shaped by pressure, performance, and survival. This isn't a story about a missing woman. This is a story about a woman who refuses to stay missing. It's about what happens when femininity is no longer used to please, but to dominate. When love becomes a weapon. When control becomes the only form of safety. This is the horror of Amy Dunn. Amy was never given the space to become herself. She was written before she was ever real. Through Amazing Amy, the fictional, idealized version of her childhood that outperformed her in every chapter. She learned early that to be loved, she had to be better. Not better than others, but better than herself. From this warped soil grows a terrifying kind of intelligence. Not just self-awareness, but self-construction. Amy doesn't discover who she is. She designs who she must be to survive. And here's where it turns dark. Instead of rejecting the toxic expectations that shaped her, she embraces them strategically. Amy isn't resisting objectification. She's mastering it, playing it back with weaponized precision. But make no mistake, this isn't empowerment. It's a performance that bleeds others. Her reinvention is not healing. It's vengeance dressed as control. Amy is not a role model. She is a warning. When Amy marries Nick, she continues her performance, but now it's reciprocal. Nick performs too. The cool girl fantasy he falls in love with is a mirage, and he knows it. He just doesn't care as long as it serves him. This is the haunting reflection of modern relationships gone girl critiques. They're built not on authenticity, but on illusion, on curated selves sold to each other like branding. Amy's horror is in how clearly she sees this. And instead of walking away, she chooses to manipulate it. When the illusion breaks, she retaliates. Not by seeking truth, but by scripting an even more elaborate lie. She stages her own disappearance. She frames her husband for murder. And here, it must be said, these are not symbolic gestures. These are crimes. Amy's response to betrayal is not cathartic. It's monstrous. To understand her is not to forgive her. She is terrifying not just because she was hurt, but because of what she does with that hurt. Amy doesn't scream. She smiles. She bleeds strategically. She turns the cultural stereotypes of femininity into sharp, silent weapons. She knows that society wants to believe women are fragile, soft, in need of protection. She weaponizes that narrative. Her bruises are fake. Her terror is rehearsed. Her victimhood is performance art, and the world claps for it. But let's be very clear, this is not justice. This is exploitation. Amy uses the very real structures of misogyny as camouflage for manipulation. She fabricates rape. She frames abuse. And in doing so, she endangers real victims, those whose stories are already too often dismissed. This is not feminism. This is corruption. This is a woman turning societal rot into personal theater, not to expose injustice, but to win. And yes, she wins. But a moral cost so severe, it chills the blood. Some argue that Amy is a feminist icon. She isn't. Amy is a critique of the world feminism tries to fix. She's not an ideal. She's a poison mirror. A reflection of what happens when a woman is molded entirely by societal pressures, and then turns those pressures outward in vengeance. She doesn't seek liberation. She doesn't build community. She doesn't speak truth to power. She is the monster born from a broken system. Yes, but she chooses to perpetuate that brokenness, not dismantle it. If this is feminism, it's feminism rotted by cynicism. Feminism reduced to performance, to dominance, to survival at the cost of morality. Amy Dunn isn't the end of patriarchy. She's its echo with sharper teeth. And then, disturbingly, she returns home. She doesn't vanish. She reinserts herself into the narrative as a resurrected wife. And Nick lets her. Not because he believes her, but because somehow she's won. Their marriage becomes a closed circuit of performance and control, a stage with no exits. They are both prisoners now, not just of each other, but of the lies they built and now must sustain. It's tempting to read this as dark romance. It's not. It's horror. This isn't love. It's mutual captivity. Amy survives, but not as a person. She survives as a construct. And Nick gives up trying to escape. Amy Dunn is not a feminist hero. She is not an empowered icon. And she is absolutely not a victim to admire. She is the final product of a toxic culture, and a stark warning about what happens when performance replaces identity, when survival becomes manipulation, when pain is never processed, only repackaged as power. Her intelligence is real. Her trauma is real. But her actions are dangerous, immoral, calculated. This is not a character to emulate. This is a cautionary tale.